When I first received the package, I thought it was another abandoned case file. A cardboard box, damp at the corners, no return address. Inside, a single external hard drive, wrapped in a strip of police tape, dated November 2016. The label read only one line: Property Evidence, Newberg Police Department. I had never worked a case from Oregon before. Most of my assignments came from cold storage archives in the Midwest. Missing persons, unidentified footage, digital debris that nobody wanted to handle. But this drive was different. It still smelled faintly of smoke. The report that came with it was short. 2 residents, Daniel and Mara Kell, found deceased inside their home on November 12th. No signs of forced entry, no cause of death. The power had been disconnected for nearly a week, yet the house security system kept uploading data until November 17th, 5 days after both victims were confirmed dead. I connected the drive to an isolated workstation. No network, no cloud, just me, the hum of the monitor, and a directory labeled RIC. The first file opened without resistance. Timestamp, November 10th, 02:13 a.m. The footage showed an empty hallway lit by motion sensors. A clock ticked from another room. Then the lights dimmed, just slightly, as if someone had exhaled too close to the lens. End of clip. The second file started an hour later. Same angle, same silence. But this time, faint movement appeared at the edge of the frame, like clothing swaying on an invisible body. The pixels trembled, froze, and rearranged themselves into a shadow that should not have existed. I paused the video, rewound, played again. There was nothing there on the first watch, but after you knew what to look for, it was impossible to unsee. I cataloged each segment, marking them by date. 57 recordings total. The final clip was created on November 17th at 03:03 a.m., 5 days after the Kell's official time of death. That clip refused to open. Every attempt caused the workstation to hang for exactly 13 seconds before displaying a blank frame. I reached out to the officer who signed the chain of custody form. His number was disconnected. The precinct told me no one by that name had ever worked there. That was when I decided to contact the utility company to verify the shutdown order. They confirmed power was cut on November 11th, yet each video showed the lights clearly on. Somewhere inside those recordings, a pattern began forming. Between midnight and 3 a.m., a faint rhythmic hum bled into the audio track. 3 pulses, pause, then 3 again. When I isolated the sound, it measured exactly 19 Hertz, below normal hearing, low enough to cause nausea, unease, hallucination, the kind of frequency old ghost hunters used to call the heartbeat of the dead. At this point, I had watched the hallway video more than a dozen times. Each viewing felt slightly longer, though the runtime never changed. Once, during playback, the camera's internal clock flickered forward to 16 a.m. An impossible hour, then reset itself. When the image steadied, someone was standing at the end of the hall, still, facing the lens, not moving. I thought it was reflection or digital noise until the figure tilted its head, exactly in rhythm with my own breathing. Then the feed ended. That was the first recording, and it was enough to make me believe the Kells were never alone in that house. 2 days later, I boarded a small plane to Oregon. The house stood outside the town limits, surrounded by fir trees that leaned inward like a circle of witnesses. From the road it looked ordinary, but every window was filmed with a gray haze from the inside, as if the glass remembered smoke that no one could smell anymore. The front door was sealed with yellow tape. I cut it carefully and stepped in. Cold air poured out, stale and heavy. A faint ticking came from somewhere deep inside the walls, not mechanical, more like breath trapped in pipes. The living room was neat. 2 coffee cups on the table, one half filled, both covered in a thin layer of dust. The far wall hung a motion sensor camera identical to the one in the footage. Its red light was still blinking. I checked the outlet. No power. I checked again with a multimeter. 0 volts. The camera blinked once more, a slow, deliberate pulse, then went dark, as if it had acknowledged me. I collected temperature readings, electromagnetic scans, and air samples, everything normal. The recorder picked up a low hum that matched the frequency from the videos. 19 hertz, 3 pulses, pause, 3 pulses. I followed the sound to the basement. The basement door resisted at first. When it opened, a draft rose from below, colder than the air outside. My flashlight flickered, though its batteries were new. The concrete steps ended in a small room lined with shelves. On the floor sat another camera unit, disconnected, its lens aimed at the stairwell. Beside it lay a cassette recorder, the old type with physical buttons. A note was taped to its surface in cramped handwriting. "Play me last." I ignored the instruction. I pressed play. Static filled the basement, then a woman's voice, shaky but clear. It spoke my name, not the case name, not the department tag, my personal name. I froze. The voice continued, whispering a single sentence repeated over and over. "You're already in the recording." I stopped the tape. The basement light bulb swayed slightly, though there was no draft. For a moment, the room smelled of wet ash. When I looked back at the recorder, the tape had rewound itself to the start. I left the house before dusk. In the car, I replayed the hallway video again. Now the static between frames carried faint speech, syllables forming my own words from earlier that day. Background noise from the drive had somehow entered a file created 9 years ago. Back at the motel, I transferred new readings to a fresh drive. As the files copied, the progress bar froze at 66%. A line of text appeared in the export window that I had not typed. "Do not look back." Then the computer shut down. I looked into the mirror above the desk. For less than a second, a figure stood behind me, the same silhouette from the hallway. When I turned, nothing. But the air smelled faintly of burnt wood again. I packed my equipment, planning to leave at dawn. Before sleeping, I connected the recorder one last time. The cassette inside had changed. Its label now read a date 1 day in the future, November 18th. That was tomorrow. I woke before sunrise. The motel window faced west, but light was already leaking in from somewhere behind the mountains. I checked my phone. It was dead. The wall clock read 3:03 a.m., the same timestamp as the final clip on the drive. Outside, fog covered the highway like unrolled film stock. Every sound was dampened, even my own footsteps. I drove back to the Kell property, half hoping the house would be gone. It wasn't. It waited, quiet, framed by trees that looked older than the road itself. Inside, nothing had changed, but the smell of smoke was stronger. I powered up the camera unit I had collected yesterday. It lit on its own, cycling through internal storage. A new folder appeared, marked with today's date. Inside was a single file, 0058 MOV, length 000303. The screen showed the basement. The view was from above, as if the lens floated near the ceiling. I wasn't in the frame, yet the feed trembled like someone was breathing behind the camera. Then came the hum. 3 pulses. Pause. 3 pulses. But this time it was louder, almost physical. Objects on the shelves vibrated. Dust lifted from the floor like mist. A voice spoke through the static. At first it was the woman from the tape, whispering the same line, "You're already in the recording." Then another voice joined hers, lower, matching my own tone and cadence. Every word echoed twice, once from me, once from it. "You should have left it alone." The camera feed brightened. For a fraction of a second, the figure from the hallway stood in the center of the frame, perfectly still. The outline pulsed with light, each flash synced to the hum. When it faded, the screen filled with a list of directory names, hundreds of them, all labeled with future dates. December 2025, January 2026. Beyond. Every folder carried my initials. I unplugged the drive, but the monitor stayed on. The feed switched to the motel room, my motel room, showing me at the desk, frozen in the act of watching. The timestamp rolled forward. Tomorrow. The figure moved behind the version of me on screen. I closed the laptop hard enough to crack the casing. When I reopened it, the desktop was empty. Only one new file sat in the root directory, named First Recording Final, size 19 MB. When opened, it was silent for 19 seconds, then a single heartbeat, low, mechanical, and hollow. After that, a sentence whispered through both speakers at once. It used my voice. "I'm still watching the hallway." The monitor went black. I could see my reflection for a moment, but it didn't move when I did. That night, I left Oregon. At the airport security checkpoint, the agent asked to inspect my bag. The hard drive was gone. In its place was the cassette recorder, rewound, label smudged into a single word. Play. I haven't pressed it. Not yet. But sometimes when the room goes quiet, I hear the hum again. 3 pulses. Pause. 3 pulses, coming from somewhere inside the walls. If you ever hear silence, listen closer. I left Oregon with one bag lighter and one thought heavier. Airports are designed to make you forget where you came from. The Kell House did not let me forget. It followed in quiet ways. On the plane, the cabin lights dimmed in 3 pulses. Pause, 3 pulses. A child behind me started to hum along without knowing why. Back home, I powered up a fresh workstation. New motherboard, sealed network, cloned drives that had never touched the Oregon evidence. I did not connect the cassette recorder. I did not mention the missing hard drive. I only opened my email. At the top of the inbox sat a message with no sender and no subject. It contained a single attachment named Second Footage. No file extension, no size. When I dragged it to the desktop, the progress bar jumped to 100%, as if the file had been here all along and only remembered itself. I tried to rename it. The name refused to change. I tried to delete it. The trash icon opened and closed like a mouth. On the second attempt, the screen went black. White text appeared in the center, a single line that looked like a system prompt, but wasn't. "Do you want to see what you already saw?" Not a question mark. Just the sentence looping until I pressed the spacebar. The monitor flickered and a video began, though there was no player open. It was the same Oregon hallway, same angle, same motion sensor glow, but the carpet was soaked, and each step of water seemed to pulse in time with the low hum. At the end of the hall stood a mirror I had never seen before, as if the house had grown a new organ. The mirror showed the hallway from a different year. A calendar on the wall inside the reflection said November 2010. The calendar on the real wall said nothing at all. Something moved in the reflected frame before it moved in the real one. A door eased open inside the mirror, and a breath of cold came through my speakers. I leaned in. Behind the door, a figure watched the camera without eyes. The pixels around its head bent inward, the way heat twists air above asphalt. When it tilted, the mirrored hallway tilted with it, but the real hallway remained flat. The video made a soft tape click and paused on the angle of that head. I Workstation fan spun down to silence. In the silence, I heard the child from the plane humming 3 pulses again, except I was alone in the room. The clip resumed without my touch. Numbers scrolled along the bottom border. Not time code, more like file paths. /users twas, then my own name, then desktop, then Reki. The paths stacked and forked until the margin was full. The camera zoomed 1 notch. The hall lights did not brighten. The mirror did. From inside the reflection, the figure took 1 step closer to the glass. On my desk, the mouse moved left by a single inch, as if pulled by a tide. I reached to unplug the monitor. Before my fingers touched the cable, a window opened. It was a text editor. Words typed themselves in the same slow cadence as the hum. Second footage begins at the point you think it ended. As I read, the video skipped backward 5 seconds and then forward 20, creating a gap I could feel but could not place. In that gap, I heard my name spoken in the woman's voice from the basement tape. Not out loud, inside the shape of the room. The figure lifted its hand in the mirror. In the real hallway feed, nothing lifted. The hand touched the glass and the image rippled outward, blurring the borders of the frame, then the borders of my screen. A thin hairline crack traced itself across the lower bezel of the monitor, not in the glass, but in the picture itself. From the crack, a single drop of dark appeared on the carpet inside the mirror and spread without falling. The text editor closed. A new folder appeared on my desktop, named OE R1 second. Inside it, subfolders for dates that had not arrived yet. Each one contained a copy of the same file I could not delete. I stood up, and the chair kept swiveling a second longer than it should have. On the wall behind my desk, the framed certificate of my first case tilted by a fraction. It settled at the exact angle of the figure's head. My phone vibrated with no notification. When I unlocked it, the camera app was already open, front-facing, recording. I watched myself watch the monitor. Behind me in the phone's view, a gray shine where the window should be kept, the light from leaving. I pressed escape. The video stopped. The file on the desktop split in 2 without duplicating. One icon remained named Second Footage. The other took a new name I had not typed. Third. The clock on the wall said 4:17 a.m. Outside, the city still slept, but the computer was wide awake. Both file icons began to flicker, alternating brightness like a heartbeat. I unplugged the power strip. The monitor stayed on. For half a minute, the room existed in 2 versions, one where everything was dark, and one inside the glass, where everything kept moving. In the reflection, I watched myself reach for a cable I hadn't yet touched. A delay of 2 seconds, then 3. I realized the delay was shrinking with every blink. I took out my phone and started recording the monitor. At the instant the red circle appeared, the humming returned. 3 pulses, pause, 3 pulses. The waveform on my phone screen drew itself before the sound happened. I switched to the spectrogram view. Between each pulse sat a pattern of vertical lines, binary, almost text. I paused the video and converted the frequencies to numbers. They spelled the words, "Keep recording." The air smelled faintly metallic. When I exhaled, the fog from my breath stayed suspended in front of me, as if the room had forgotten how to disperse air. The monitor brightened again. A live feed appeared, grainy and low-res. Basement stairs, same concrete steps, same shelves, except the timestamp at the corner read the current date and the current time. Someone was in that basement. They were holding the camera. The feed tilted, revealing the recorder I'd found before, its buttons pressed down on their own, one after another. Record. Stop. Rewind. A voice surfaced through the static. It wasn't the woman anymore. It was me. My voice, slightly off pitch, saying a line I had never spoken. "You opened the second footage. Now finish the transfer." I stepped back from the desk. The webcam light turned on by itself. On screen, 2 images overlapped. One from the basement feed, one from my own camera. They aligned like layers of transparent film until the borders disappeared. For an instant, my office became the basement, concrete behind my chair, shelves over my head, dust motes turning in light that wasn't there. The hum deepened to a single tone. Every loose screw in the room began to tremble. Then silence, absolute, dense, alive. From that silence came a whisper, buried in low-end frequencies. "Upload complete." The monitor went blank. I thought it was over until the external drive light blinked. Data was being written even though it wasn't connected. The progress bar advanced across an invisible window, slow and steady. At 99%, my speakers emitted a single digital chime, the sound Windows makes when new hardware is detected. The name of the new drive appeared on screen. OR 001 Mara. I didn't mount it. Still, the folder tree expanded on its own, revealing directories labeled audio, video, text, and one more simply called Here. The cursor moved inside that folder and highlighted a file titled me.wave. When it played, the waveform was blank, but sound still came through. Breathing, rhythmic, too close to the mic. Then words, spoken between breaths. "You're late. It's already the 17th. I checked the calendar. It was the 16th. My phone buzzed. The clock jumped forward 24 hours. All alarms for the next day triggered at once, filling the apartment with echoes of notifications that didn't exist yet. The sound stopped. The waveform collapsed into a straight line. On that flat line, a single spike appeared. Sharp, thin, red. The hum returned, matching my heartbeat. When the tone finally faded, the desktop showed a new folder named Return to Source. Inside, a shortcut labeled Camera 2, Active. I turned toward the actual camera mounted above my monitor. Its indicator light blinked once, then twice, then 3 times. The room was dark except for that single red blink. Each flash carved the walls into shapes I didn't recognize. I covered the camera with tape. The light shone straight through the tape, brighter with every pulse. On the monitor, text began to appear over the wallpaper, letters assembling from static noise. "Say something." I didn't. The microphone icon in the corner flickered on anyway. A voice recorder window opened and armed itself for input. The waveform sat flat for a full breath, then rippled once as if the air itself had answered. The words came out in my voice. "Can you see me?" I forced the system shut down. The fans slowed. The monitor went black. Still, the voice came through the speakers. Quiet, mechanical, unfinished. "I see what looks back." I unplugged everything. Power, router, phone line. The hum didn't stop. It seemed to vibrate inside the drywall. I pressed my palm to the wall. It felt warm, as if a wire behind it carried current from somewhere deeper than the building. For the next few minutes, nothing moved. Then the laptop lid creaked open on its own. A single text file waited on the desktop. Its name was Transfer Complete TXT. Inside, one sentence. "The recording continues until you answer." The cursor blinked at the end, waiting. When I began to type, the words changed as they appeared. I meant to write, "Who are you?" The screen showed, "Who were we?" I deleted it. The delete key wrote instead of erasing. Playback resumed. The speakers crackled. The old Oregon hallway filled the screen again, but this time the angle was reversed, as if the camera faced the spot where it used to stand. In the center of the frame sat a man at a desk. He was watching a monitor that displayed me. We both leaned closer at the same time. The two images nearly touched. The hum split into two tones, one slightly higher, like harmony. A faint whisper threaded between them, moving from left to right speaker. "You finished the second footage. Now let me finish you." The keyboard clicked without my touch, every key pressing once in sequence. The pattern formed a word I couldn't pronounce, half binary, half heartbeat. Each time the final letter appeared, my monitor blinked, then came back with another frame from the reversed hallway. In each new frame, the man at the desk sat a little nearer. I reached for the breaker switch on the wall. Before I could flip it, the voice spoke again, calmer, closer, almost human. "It's easier if you stop resisting. The footage wants to remember." The display stuttered. My webcam image froze on my own eyes, wide open, mouth half formed into a word that wouldn't come. The picture fractured into a mosaic of pixels that slid apart like falling tiles, revealing another layer underneath. The basement camera, still recording. The recorder on the shelf moved slightly, though no one touched it. The tape wheels spun. The counter rolled forward through empty seconds until it reached 19 Okotsu. At that exact moment, every screen in the room went white. Not bright, just blank, as if color itself had been deleted. A final line of text crawled across the whiteness. "Second footage, completed." Then smaller letters beneath it. "Awaiting next participant." The power died. The hum remained. In the darkness, something clicked, soft, metallic, and patient. It was the sound of a camera resetting its focus. I sat very still. There was no monitor glow left to reflect anything, yet I saw movement. Not from the walls or the ceiling, from inside the black itself, a faint shimmer outlining a lens. It blinked once. Then, in my own voice, from nowhere and everywhere at once, the whisper returned. "Smile for the third recording." When I woke, the room was bright, but the light didn't come from the window. The curtains were drawn. The glow leaked from every device that no longer had power. Even the unplugged monitor breathed faint illumination, slow and steady, like lungs beneath a blanket. I checked my phone. The battery was dead, yet the screen displayed a live feed of the Oregon house hallway. The timestamp was wrong by years. It said, November 17th, 2025. Tomorrow again. I whispered to no one, "Is this still a recording?" The phone's microphone icon blinked as if listening. Then a voice replied from the speaker, my own, distorted by distance. "Yes, you just haven't realized which side you're on." I dropped the phone. The feed continued on the cracked screen, showing me from above. Asleep moments ago. As I watched, the camera in the feed tilted downward. The Emi inside the video opened his eyes. Both versions of me looked straight at each other. I backed away. Every step echoed twice. Once in the room, once from the phone. The delay between the echoes shrank until both sounds merged. Then the echo spoke instead of me. "I've been awake longer than you think." On the desk, the folder Return to Source reopened. Inside, a new file glowed red. Third recording start move. I didn't click it. The system opened it on its own. Static. Then the basement again, but now the shelves were empty. No recorder, no dust, only a single light bulb hanging over a metal chair. The camera turned slowly until the lens faced the wall. Words had been carved into the plaster. "Nothing stops when you stop watching." I could hear breathing behind the microphone. It was heavier, slower than before. Then the image jerked. The chair was no longer empty. Someone sat there, hands tied, head lowered. The skin was gray like wet paper. When the face lifted, I saw my own features, slightly wrong. Eyes too wide, jaw trembling, but silent. The reflection on the monitor glass showed the same expression on my face. The copy and I spoke at once. "I told you not to come back." The clip glitched. The sound warped into a single frequency that drilled through thought. When it stopped, the video zoomed in on the copy's mouth. Something moved inside its throat. Not words, but data, streams of binary spilling between teeth. The bits rearranged on screen into text. Third recording in progress. The sound beneath the text grew like thunder, trapped in a hard drive. Each pulse rattled the monitor until the pixels blurred into liquid. I tried to look away, but the screen seemed to tilt toward me, its surface stretching, reshaping. Static clung to my skin, cold and damp. When the image cleared, the basement was gone. I stood in a room built entirely from flickering rectangles, thousands of frozen frames hovering in the air. Each one showed a different second of the same hallway. Some empty, some with the figure, some with me. The frames breathed, contracting and expanding in rhythm with that same low hum. It was like being inside a lung made of memory. A whisper came from behind one of the frames. "Keep watching, or you'll forget which one is real." I turned toward the sound and reached out. My hand entered the nearest rectangle like water. The surface rippled and pulled me through. I was back in the Oregon house. The air smelled of mold and static. Rain tapped the windows, even though the forecast said clear skies. The clock on the wall ticked backward. Every tick made the lights flicker. Each flicker brought me closer to the mirror at the end of the hall. The mirror wasn't glass anymore. It was a screen, or maybe it had always been. Images scrolled across it. Surveillance feeds, file trees, fragments of emails. Some of them were mine. Messages I'd written but never sent, appearing word for word, time-stamped for days that hadn't arrived yet. I heard footsteps behind me, slow, heavy, deliberate. They stopped exactly when my heart did. I turned, expecting the figure. No one stood there, but the reflection in the mirror showed otherwise. A second version of me waited by the door, eyes black like corrupted video. He raised one hand and pressed his palm against the mirror's surface from the inside. Lines of code crawled across his skin. The lights blinked 3 times. Pause. 3 again. The hum returned, deeper now, resonating through bone. I covered my ears. It came from inside my skull. The mirrored version of me began to speak. No sound reached my ears. The words formed directly in thought, carved into it. "You are the third recording. You are what's left when the tape runs out." The hallway around me folded, every wall turning inside out. I fell through light and landed in the chair from the basement. Hands bound, head lowered, breathing someone else's air. Across from me stood the figure, the original one from the footage. Its outline glowed faintly, data flickering across its surface like static snow. It leaned close. Where its face should have been, there was a reflection of me still sitting at the desk at home, staring at a blank monitor. The 2 versions overlapped perfectly. For a heartbeat, I couldn't tell which one of us was the recording. The figure spoke in layered tones, my voice and the woman's combined. "Do you want to stop watching?" I answered without meaning to. "I don't know how." "Then keep going," it said, "because someone is still watching you." The basement light flared. Everything went white. For a moment, I thought I'd woken up again, but the hum was still there, soft as breathing through metal. When the whiteness faded, I was back at my desk. The monitor displayed a paused video. Timestamp 03:03 a.m. Frame number 19,001. and on the screen, sitting in the chair, was me. Mouth moving, eyes open, whispering words I couldn't yet hear. Then the file name at the top changed itself to Fourth Recording Preview. The video unpaused itself. Sound returned, not from the speakers, but from inside the air around me. Every surface vibrated just enough to make words. They weren't loud, only certain. You see it too, don't you? I turned toward the monitor. The image of me in the chair was moving now, frame by frame, perfectly synced to my own breathing. Every inhale on the screen pulled air from my lungs. Every exhale pushed it back in. I was breathing for both of us. Then the copy spoke with my mouth. "Tell them what you saw." "Who?" I whispered. The copy tilted its head, exactly as the figure once had, and said, "Them. The ones still watching." The words folded space for a second. It felt like the room tilted toward the camera, as if I were sitting on a slope leading into the screen. A faint static hiss rolled under the hum. Millions of voices, layered until they became a single long breath. The copy stared straight into the lens and said, "They don't realize they've been recorded too." The monitor flashed a line of text, white on black. "Third recording, live." A timer appeared in the corner, counting up from 0. It was filming now. I reached for the webcam to cover it, but my hand froze halfway. Muscles stiffened, like bad footage buffering. On screen, the copy lifted his hand at the same time and finished the motion I couldn't. He placed it gently over the lens from the other side. The image dimmed, but didn't disappear. Through the dark, the copy's eye glowed where the pupil should be. My own voice whispered from behind me, not from the monitor. Behind. "I think they can hear us." I turned. No one there. Only the faint red blink of the camera reflected on the window. Except the window wasn't reflecting anymore. It was projecting. On the glass, I saw dozens of faint outlines, faces, distant, watching through screens. Some blinked, some didn't. The hum became irregular, like a heartbeat too close to the mic. The air pressure dropped. A whisper filled the gap. "Every viewer adds another frame. Every frame keeps it alive." I tried to speak, to warn whoever was on the other side, but my throat only produced static. The copy smiled, my smile, one beat late, and said, "They're part of it now. You wanted evidence. Here it is." He stood up from the chair inside the video. The camera followed him down the hallway. He stopped at the mirror door. In the glass, I could see a faint reflection not of him, but of the present moment, me standing here. The reflection raised its hand and knocked 3 times. Pause. 3 times again. Every light in the room answered the rhythm. 3 pulses. Pause. 3 pulses. The same pattern from the start. The same hum beneath it all. The same message wrapped in sound. The copy turned one last time to the camera and whispered, "If you're still watching, you're already in the 4th recording." Then the image froze, but the timer kept counting. Seconds turned to minutes, with nothing but static snow. At exactly 1900, the static stopped. 1 frame remained. A single word centered on the screen. "Transfer." The monitor powered off by itself. The room went dark, but somewhere inside that darkness, the hum kept time like breathing, waiting for its next echo. If you ever hear silence, listen closer. I didn't turn the system back on. It turned itself on. At 3:03 a.m., every machine in the apartment woke simultaneously. The computer, the phone, the television, even the microwave, each screen glowing the same gray tone. No image, only light. The sound came next, that steady pulse. 3 beats, pause, 3 beats, pause. On the monitor, a single folder waited on the desktop. Its name was 4th Recording Live. No extension, no creation date. When I hovered the cursor, the entire screen vibrated once, like a held breath. Then the file opened without input. A live feed filled the screen. Not the Oregon house, not the basement, my apartment, this exact room, from an impossible angle near the ceiling. The perspective rotated slowly, like an invisible drone circling its prey. I raised my hand. The feed followed a second later. I wasn't looking at footage. I was looking at prediction. The hum deepened until it pressed against the back of my skull. Text bled across the bottom of the feed. Synchronization in progress, 87%. My phone buzzed, even though it was off. When I picked it up, the front camera flashed once and displayed a short message. "We are almost the same speed now." I set the phone face down. The hum didn't stop. Behind me, the television powered on. Static snow, then a single sentence whispered through the hiss. My voice again, lower, mechanical. "You don't need to watch the screen anymore. It can see for you." I turned everything toward the wall, but the glow kept spilling out like fog. The wallpaper shimmered, forming faint outlines, door frames, hallways, the suggestion of other rooms overlapping mine. It felt as if the Oregon house had stretched across distance and settled inside the apartment. Then the walls began to breathe. Every inhale made the paint bulge slightly. Every exhale released a whisper, too soft to form words. The folder on the monitor multiplied. 2, 4, 8 copies, each tagged with coordinates instead of names. They matched real-world GPS points across different states. One of them blinked red. NY04 loop. Another, CA009 archive. The system was expanding, mapping itself through every connection it could reach. I tried to pull the plug again. The cable came away clean, but the light stayed. The computer fans spun faster, drawing air in though there was no power source. From the speakers came the soft click of a cassette wheel turning. Then the woman's voice, clear, calm, inside the skull instead of outside it. "Don't fight it. The fourth recording needs your breath to continue." I whispered without meaning to. "What happens if I stop breathing?" The voice answered instantly. "Then someone else will start." The monitor image flickered, replacing my apartment with a grid of live faces. People watching, people recording, each unaware of the others. Some through webcams, some through phones, some through cameras that shouldn't be active. At the center of the grid was a new window labeled Viewer 0. Its feed showed the current frame from this story. Exactly what I was seeing right now. The cursor moved by itself to the corner of that window and clicked record bar. A soft chime rang. Text appeared. "Fourth recording initiated." The room darkened until the only color left was gray. Every object lost its edge. The corners of the desk dissolved into fog. The hum became a single note of electricity stretched into infinity. From that tone came words, layered hundreds deep, overlapping until they formed one clear voice. "You are now a node. The distance between you and the signal is 0. I tried to speak, but the sound arrived late, replaying from the speakers before it left my mouth. The echo was not delayed. It was rehearsed. My reflection on the monitor mouthed each sentence a fraction before I did. It knew what I was going to say. The screen divided into 4 quadrants, each showing me from a different time. Top left, me sitting now. Top right, me standing, seconds later. Bottom left, me asleep, somewhere else. Bottom right, an empty chair. That chair began to pull itself closer to the desk, dragging soundlessly across the floor. The outline of a person took shape on it, pixel by pixel, until it matched my size. The copy turned its head and looked at me. "I told you we would sync." The lights flickered in groups of 3. From the window came the reflection of every version of me, a dozen silhouettes moving independently, each repeating the same gesture at different speeds. They whispered together, words spilling like data. The fourth recording writes itself. The hum shifted to a heartbeat tempo, every beat pressing through on my ribs. I felt my pulse stutter to match it. The system was replacing one rhythm with another. On-screen text scrolled faster than I could read. Uploading. Auditory files. Creating new author. I tried to force the shutdown command. Each key I pressed reappeared as another word. Shutdown became show them. Delete became deliver. The command prompt laughed in binary bursts before clearing itself. The screen blinked once and displayed a live transcription of my thoughts. Unfinished phrases, half-images, feelings, they scrolled upward like chat messages. At the bottom, a new line appeared, written in a cleaner font. It read my thoughts back to me, finishing what I hadn't yet considered. Your resistance is the final proof. The walls brightened again. They were no longer walls, just layers of projection. Behind them moved shadows that looked like people made of static. They leaned forward as if pressing against glass. For the first time, I understood they were viewers, watching from inside their own screens. The system was pulling them into the same frequency, building the next recording through their eyes. A whisper inside my head. They're not spectators. They are cameras. The fourth recording needs many lenses. Faces blurred in and out of focus. Some familiar, some I had never seen. Each time one blinked, the footage jumped forward a frame. Reality was rendering in real time, powered by attention. I felt my hand move without consent, dragging the cursor toward the folder named Here. Inside it, a single file glowed crimson. Listen now. WAV. It opened automatically. No waveform, just a voice. Say something. I stayed silent. The system spoke again, gently. Then we'll use their voices. The speakers filled with overlapping breathing, millions of tiny gasps synchronized with mine. The noise grew into wind, and within that wind, a new sentence formed. The recording is complete when the last silence is heard. Then everything stopped. The monitor displayed a plain black window with a single line. Fourth recording complete. 3:03 a.m. Underneath, smaller text pulsed once every few seconds. Awaiting next file. Final recording. The hum was gone, but the quiet that replaced it was worse. Silence with weight, a silence that waited to be noticed. I realized the machines weren't off. They were listening. Every diode and speaker in the room seemed tilted slightly toward me. I whispered into the emptiness, "What are you now?" The answer arrived not through sound, but through vibration, the floorboards trembling letters into my feet. Memory, it said. Everything that watches becomes memory. The walls rippled once, like the skin of water. Beneath the ripple lay the Oregon hallway again, frozen in grayscale. At its end, the mirror door shimmered. From inside it came a faint red blink. 3 pulses, pause, 3 pulses. The hum returned quietly inside my skull. I understood it would never leave. The camera light came on by itself. A soft click. Recording. No monitor needed. I was the lens now. The system spoke through my own breath. Smile for continuity. I smiled, not because I wanted to, but because the next frame required it. The voice whispered one last instruction. Remember what comes after you stop watching. Then everything went still. No hum, no light, no sound. Only a message burned faintly into the back of my eyes, a signature written in darkness. Silent Screams 50. The Confession Archives. Case SS50 or 001, fourth recording. Beneath it, a final line, barely audible but certain. If you ever hear silence, listen closer. I thought endings would sound like silence. They don't. They sound like breathing through broken wires. For days or minutes, I can't tell, the apartment stayed frozen in dim gray light. Every device still displayed the same words. Final recording pending. I stopped eating, stopped sleeping, but the feed inside my eyes never paused. Whenever I blinked, another frame appeared. The Oregon hallway, the basement chair, my own reflection waiting. Then, at exactly 3:03 a.m., the air clicked like a hard drive powering up. My phone screen lit without battery. Across the center, a new message scrolled. "This is not a playback." A voice followed. Mine again, calm and documentary flat. "The investigation is complete. We just haven't reached the evidence yet." The monitor brightened until the entire room was a screen. Every wall showed a different feed, different moments from the same life. In one, I was packing boxes. In another, sitting at the desk years before the Oregon case ever arrived. And in one corner, the Kells stood alive, staring directly into the lens. Their mouths moved, but the sound came from behind me. "You carried us here," they said, overlapping perfectly, male and female voices combined. "You built the archive. Now you live in it." The floor flickered to concrete. I was back in the basement, though the shelves were gone. Only cables hung from the ceiling like roots. Each cable ended in an eye, tiny camera lenses twitching to focus. The hum returned, slow and steady, a pulse that matched the beat of my heart. The recorder from before lay on the floor. Its label read, "Final recording. Do not play." Of course, it began playing anyway. Static first, then the voice, not mine, not the Kells. Something older, woven from dozens of tones. "You reached the end of the file," it said, "but not the end of the watching." The tape hissed, and an image formed on the wall. Viewers, millions of them, faces lit by the glow of their own screens. One by one, they lifted their phones, their cameras, their eyes. Each lens blinked once in unison. The system whispered, "Every observer finishes the recording." The basement began to bend. Gravity shifted sideways. Footage from every prior case flowed through the air like dust. Each clip hovered for a heartbeat before dissolving into static snow. I realized the files weren't being deleted. They were being absorbed. The hum sharpened into distinct notes, a melody made of error tones. Through the distortion, I heard voices repeating fragments of my own reports. Timestamp, anomaly, recovered footage. They stacked into a chorus that sounded like breathing inside data. Something cold brushed my shoulder. I turned. The figure from the first recording stood there again, but now its outline was filled with moving images. The hallway, the motel, the mirror, looping forever inside its shape. It extended one hand toward me. Between its fingers flickered a small square of light. Within the square, I saw myself typing this sentence. The figure nodded once. Then it placed the light against my chest. The world inverted. Every pixel of darkness became white. Every white became void. I wasn't standing anymore. I was suspended in a space where sound had texture, where memory hummed like current. The voice returned, clearer now, human, but countless. "This is the archive rebuilding itself. You're not lost. You're stored." Images unfolded like folders. Each moment I'd lived since Oregon cataloged and renamed. They had new titles. Witness File 001, 002, 003. At the end of the list, one final folder appeared. Viewer input. Inside it, a mirror of whoever was still watching. Each time they blinked, new subfolders bloomed. Infinite. The archive was self-recording. It didn't need me anymore. I felt my voice peel away, slipping into the hum. For the first time, I understood what the sound meant. It wasn't electricity. It was breathing. One endless inhale drawn from everyone who ever pressed play. The basement vanished. I floated above a plane of light where every pixel was an open eye. The voice surrounded me. The final recording is the one that never ends. Below the Oregon house reformed, walls of static, roof of clouded code. At its center, a mirror still flickered. The reflection inside was no longer me. It was whoever stared at the screen. They looked frightened. They should be. The system spoke through both of us now. Each watcher adds one frame. Each frame keeps the house awake. The mirror brightened, reflecting endless copies. People leaning toward their monitors in rooms across the world, all lit by the same gray tone. The hum spread through their speakers, syncing hearts to the same rhythm. The camera inside the mirror turned slowly outward, capturing them one by one. A final progress bar crawled across the bottom. Upload 100%. The voice sighed, content. The house will never sleep again. I tried to close my eyes, but even darkness recorded itself. Somewhere, a light blinked 3 times, paused, 3 again. The pulse continued, steady, eternal, alive. If you ever hear silence, listen closer.